This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Profit in association with NSC.
Bajaj Electrical's numbers on your screen: 34.6 crore rupee profit, sales at 1,350 crore, both coming in lower than expectations. We're going to be talking to the management at 2:15 this afternoon. But joining us right now is Saurabh Mittal, Managing Director and CEO at Green Lam Industries, and its fourth quarter sales are up 7.79% if you're doing a year-on-year comparison, but the profit after tax, huge surge coming through there. Mr. Mittal, thanks very much for joining us on NDTV Profit today. Good having you on the channel. Let's just talk about the quarter and how do you, deconstruct the profit after tax spike that we see?
So last quarter, we had a muted top-line growth. On the operating profit, the laminates business had a significant growth. The laminates business was at about 16% operating margin, nearly an all-time high in the last several years. In the decorative veneer and allied business, actually the operating profits came down because of the new launches of the engineered flooring and the engineered doors. The decorative veneer business did well. It was at about 16.5–17% operating profit. And that all contributed to the improved profit before tax and profit after tax. I must also say the base of quarter four financial year 15 was low. So maybe
okay, it's a tricky day. We're both talking today in Delhi where there have been pretty heavy rains, and so our connectivity could be an issue today. But Saurabh Mittal acknowledging that the sales growth relatively muted when you're looking at the fourth quarter performance, but breaking down the profit before and after tax and really underlining the laminates business as delivering that stellar growth. Let's talk, Mr. Mittal, about the top line, and you use the word sort of muted or subdued, and I wanted to get a sense from you on what the outlook for FY17 is, because there are some out there who say with the government's focus on reviving the realty sector, really getting after builders, and at the same time focusing on low-cost housing, your space, the space you operate in as an industry, is going to grow at dizzying rates. What's your outlook for FY17?
So before I do that, I must also say that in FY16, domestic growth was at about 16–17%, which is reasonably good. On the export front, we were really, flattish last year. So FY17, I think overall, we're looking at a 12–15% kind of a top line, maybe slightly higher growth in the domestic market and slightly lower growth on the export front. So I think, this should be a fair expectations or, a practically achievable kind of a target for financial year 17.
I'm looking at the countries that you operate in, and I might have got the count a little wrong, but it's about 100 countries.
Right.
And, were there any critical markets that in a sense let you down in Q4 or in FY16? And can you just pinpoint whether or not a recovery is likely in those key markets overseas?
Sure. So yes, you're right. We ship to about 100-odd countries worldwide, and we are the largest exporters of laminates from the country. And we've been the highest exporters for the last 6–7 years in continuity. On the export front, we did slip in many of our Asia-Pacific markets like Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore. A lot of our South American markets like Colombia, Peru, Mexico, and few of our emerging markets like Russia and Turkey, where there were major currency devaluation in those countries, and which made the import costs very expensive. So I think there was a challenge in these markets, while the developed markets of UK, Europe, and US did well for us. So this year we're not expecting a huge bounce back from these difficult markets or where currencies were challenging last year. But overall, I think we should look at a 8–10% kind of export growth in financial year 17.
Okay. I wanted to get a sense on your capacity utilization levels, and I'm also trying to factor in your new capacity at Nalagarh. So I just wanted to get a sense of where you are today, end of FY16.
Right. So, in quarter four FY16, the utilization in the laminates business was about 99% on enhanced capacity. On an annualized basis, we were at about 107 odd percent. And, technically we can go up to 114 to 115% utilization. So we have room for quantitative growth in financial year 17, and, we should look at improved utilization in the financial year 17 on the laminates business. In the veneer business too, we had a significant improvement in production utilizations and quantitative growth last year. We grew at about 35-40% in terms of quantity and slightly lower in terms of value. We are not expecting that kind of increased utilization in FY17, but yes, we do have adequate capacity to build that business. And in the new businesses of flooring and doors, we just started up, so there's adequate capacity in both the categories, and we should look at a improved utilization in the financial year 17.
Okay. One final thought from you on whether the new businesses, which is flooring and doors, will actually deliver the most compelling growth rates in this fiscal, given that it's a low base, or whether there's actually unmet demand, because all the segments that you're operating in, there seems to be a shift away from the unorganized into the organized sector, and you're well placed to sort of capitalize on that.
Absolutely. Sure. So, the door and flooring business, last year the flooring business obviously grew, but there was literally no base in financial year 15. The engineered doors we started, in FY16 towards the, second half. So yes, it will grow, in terms of percent significantly, hopefully this year. But I think it will still lose some money on the operating level in both these businesses in financial year 17. So I think financial year 18 we probably, should be break even at the operating profit level, and maybe, be very close to a break even at the PBT level in FY18. But yes, all the businesses we are into, there is a shift from unorganized to organized, and we have over the last 2 years introduced several new products in the market, which are more efficient in terms of usage, which are more efficient in terms of time, cost to the end customer, and that's across our categories. In doors, the business model is factory finished doors assembled on the site. In flooring, we are the only producers in the country right now. It's all the demand is met via imports. In veneers, we've introduced pre-polished, partly stained products, so the manual job on the site reduces. In laminates, we've done bathroom cubicle systems, facade laminates, premium gloss products. So across categories, we've innovated and introduced the market with several futuristic products where we replace imports, where the usage on the site is simpler, the time labor component reduces, and customers actually are able to complete their homes or offices at a quicker pace.
Well, certainly interesting times ahead for Greenlam. Thank you very much, Mr. Mittal, for joining us on NDTV Profit today. Good talking to you.